Hello, welcome back to Currency. Good to see you all today. It's good to have you back on. We're gonna have a good old time. I reckon. I formulate. I plot. I plan. Is it, you would rather have a plan, you'd rather have intentions, but like, you don't have too many intentions because people will be like, you're too intense. That's what they might say to me sometimes. But it's like, if I'm too intense, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people fucking say, obviously. Other people are worthless. Don't listen to them. That's what we know. That's one of the facts in the world, right? They proved it. They dug up some evidence on it in Pompeii. It was buried by Vesuvius's ashes, and they found evidence, people buried alive, not caring about what they thought about other people. They were in poses where they were like, where their hand was folded over in front of themselves. And they were just like clearly not giving a fuck. The people who got buried by Pompeii didn't give a fuck that they got buried, because they totally just like sat in their houses and they're like, yeah, whatever. I think that it wasn't even like fast. Did they prove that it happened fast? Or did they just find them in their houses? Maybe Pompeii was just the city that didn't give a fuck. They're like, yeah, bury me in ash. This world sucks anyway. I wanted to get buried in ash. That's why I was here. I'm fucking Pompeii, bitch. So you're gonna remember me in 2035, whatever. We're gonna party like it's 3005 tonight. People of Pompeii. Yeah, Pompeii forever. So they're gonna be like, and they're like, and then so you still remember them, and they're just totally like, yeah, Pompeii. And then there's that song by the band Bastille called Pompeii. I like it. I guess it's because that guy has a good voice, like he has an award-winning voice, and that's why Marshmello used him for the song Happier. Happier is a good song. And it has to do with that I like that song. It has to do with that the name of it is Happier. And nobody had used that title before. And I know that people will write a song that was the same title as another song that's been written before, and they can still write a hit for a song before that was even a semi-hit with the same title. I get that. But you're going to be more successful if you take titles that aren't already there, is the point that I'm making. And I guess I should say, like, oh, this is the point I'm making because if I watch back an episode I did, I could see where people are like, waiting for me to like, okay, like that sounds good, that sounds good, that sounds good, or they're like waiting for the thing, and then I kind of forget about it and then move on to something else because of my wild stream of consciousness mind. But like stream of consciousness, like Norm Macdonald said, like that's a conversation. It's like that's par for the course, you know. That's a human mind are all doing that. So you gotta take titles that are already there. Like the song Happier, that was an unavailable title because like it's a word that's getting overlooked. Most people just say happy. Nobody like focusing on that term. What is it between a superlative and just a regular term? Just like a comparably better, like happier. I forget what the word for that is, but I forget what the word for that is. Nobody's focusing on that. Same as like the Antichrist. Like I'm the Antichrist. Nobody takes that term, okay? And I have a lot of fun being the Antichrist over here in my gay little corner of the world. And like, sure, it might be sort of gay to be the Antichrist, but that's not what we're trying to focus on here. If you say the word gay, you got to divert the attention. So you're like, that's not what I'm all about, or whatever. those are the rules. Remember? Don't you guys know the rules? It's all about stream of consciousness. It's all about like connecting the dots, you know? The dots that aren't there, but that they are there. Because there's a universe in your own mind, and that universe is full of planets and fucking solar systems. But they're like, the way that words connect to you are kind of like a universe in your mind, full of certain reference points, or points of reference, as some people call them. Like, whatever. It wouldn't be, obviously there's a billion things in the planet. There's more things in a universe than there are words that you know in your mind, but the way that all of them interconnect is kind of like 3D, basically. It's just like, and there's no plotting it for real, same as the universe. I'm just saying, I mean, you know, and every single word has its own flavor, the same as every single planet or star, but a star is, and that's what this podcast should be about. It should be about like science and mathematics, because of the brain that I have and that you have and that we all have, that you need to sit around and listen to me talk about my family and friends. It's not that it's boring. Maybe it's that it's boring. It's not that it's boring. It's just that it's like not. It's too dramatic. There's planets. There's Neptune, right? And then next to that is and then somewhere nearby is the Andromeda Galaxy. So that's really lovely. And I've been thinking about math recently. Let me give you some math explanations. The numerator, and let me tell you about history to begin with. Is first of all, we have like Samuel de Champlain or whatever, no, like Jacques Cartier, whichever one of them, they'll just like, when they explored the New World, they would just go to a place and then they'd shove a cross in the ground over in New France, over in Canada, which we should still call New France, by the way. Just still call it that, even though it's like got taken over by Britain pretty soon into all of them like settling all the shit over here. Like, France got owned by Britain after the 7 Years' War, but Britain was like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. But they held the 13 colonies to a higher standard, I think because they wanted that area more. And then the colonists were like, hey, you're letting fucking Canada do whatever they want? And they got pissed about that, is more part of the reason for the revolution. But once we won the American Revolution, America won the war for independence, all of the people loyal to Britain, they moved to Canada. And then they had families, and then like the ancestry of Canadians dates back to like the loyalists of Britain. And so don't forget about that when you are evaluating Canada and what they do. Because it's the results, the children, the offspring, the progeny of, am I saying that right? Progeny of fucking loyalists to Britain. They're the Britoniest of Britones are the Canadians, because their fucking great-great-grandmothers were all like, no, we're not gonna go to war. What a bunch of losers. If you don't want to go to war when the American Revolution is happening, that's like, those are the original draft dodgers. Those people, like, no, we're gonna stay loyal to Britain. It's the fucking, that's the reject part of the gene pool of, like, Americans. Where, like, all the Americans that came over here are the most adventurous of humanity. That's the most adventurous strain of genetic humanity, whatever, that we've created. And then, like, the fucking rejects of that strain are the loyalists, who are like, no, actually, we don't want to be adventurous. Those are the liberals, basically. They're the people who are Vietnam, who didn't go to Vietnam War, they're like, we're going to Canada. And that's the whole fucking thing about Canada that people ain't realizing. Do you hear that? The alarms are going off. There's a zombie apocalypse in here every day at noon. It's weird. I think that's what it is anyway. It's either that or it's a pollution cloud that comes over the city at noon, and then they raise the fucking alarm. And like, how unalarming is an alarm that you play every... Do they play it every day? Or maybe they just do it every, like... what day it is today? Wednesday. Maybe they just do it every Wednesday. Or do they do it every day? You know? How, like, they could do it every day, I wouldn't even know. That's how unalarming their goddamn alarm is at this point. Now if an actual fucking thing happens, I'll be like... Everyone will be like, hey, it's not noon, or whatever. I thought that emergencies only happened at noon. Like, no, this isn't real. Like, the entire town is like a tsunami washes in over Columbus, Ohio from Lake Erie. So there's like a big earthquake. And then Lake Erie fucking overflows all of its fish and all of its catfish and lamprey and perch and all of that shit. And it just flows it. It dumps, all of Lake Erie becomes Ohio because there's like a massive 20.3 Richter scale earthquake right at the heart of Lake Erie, and then it floods all of Ohio's tsunami. And if it happens at 2:30, we'll just be like, no, if a tsunami was happening, it'd be happening at noon. That's what we know about emergencies. That's what we know about alarms. Like, well, that doesn't fit the profile, because, do you see what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean? Look, I'm going to disrespect you all, and never mind. I'm going to get some coffee. I'll be right back. But that's the whole goddamn... And so there's like this lore about Canada within American society about like when something doesn't happen politically, we're going to go to Canada, right? That started with the loyalists that went to Canada, whether you like it or not. That's the origin of that myth, because it's kind of like a myth. When people say they're going to Canada, they don't actually go. It's kind of just like... But it goes on and on forever, is because it is integral to what formed us historically. So the British fucking, it's like, let's go to Canada. Those were the original liberal hippie tree huggers that they're like, we don't like American politics. Not liking American politics means you're a liberal now, on this podcast at least. On this podcast, let's make a thing about liberals. So, but what I was saying is just that, like, goddamn Jacques Cartier would just put a cross in the ground somewhere in some land that he's like the only one out there. Him and a few of his squad. Like, all of these explorers would roll around with a squad of like priests and other fucking people, Indians, where it's like they discovered the same thing too, but Samuel de Champlain was like the white narrative like arbiter. He was like the narrative holder. Within him was the narrative, like he had the right. He had the right, R-I-T-E, you know, to place that superstitious cross in the ground. I mean, that symbol in the ground. But it's like Jacques Cartier would plant a cross in the ground, and then he'd be like, this is France's land. Like the dorkiest thing ever. And it worked. Like, they would do that. They'd be like, they go to the head of a river. Like La Salle is the person credited with finding the end of the Mississippi River down in Louisiana. And he's like, planted some cross or whatever. He's like, this is New France's river. And it's the dorkiest thing ever. And the rest of us, and it worked. And now we remember him for hundreds of years. That's like, he's like one of the greatest people of all time for doing that. For being like, imagine if you did that nowadays. I mean, you couldn't do that, but it's just like going to another land, planting a cross there and be like, this is mine. the gayest thing you could do, but we reward him historically basically just because he was a Christian. We're like, well, because he was a Christian, that's not dorky. And that's the way that the world still is today. That's the way that it is forever and ever, is that the Christians have convinced everybody else that they're the cool ones. And then we go around being like, no, they're the persecuted ones, and it's actually always cool to be them. And it's this whole victimhood thing that started with Jesus, and as long as the world totally reveres Jesus, as I've explained many times, the world reveres the shit out of Jesus. Christians are the least persecuted people on the planet. And then they'll walk around all day being like, why are we so oppressed, Lord? And they'll sing about it, basically. I mean, they'll moan about it. They'll lament in their churches. They get together and they'll be like, why is everything so hard for us? And the pastor that I had on my podcast, he said the same shit. It's like, wow, Christians are so persecuted, as he is the leader of the Department of Faith that's been installed in the White House, which is credentials given to no other religion, and of course no other religion would get that kind of immunity or get that kind of representation. Like, unprecedented levels of representation because you're a specific religion that the country likes the most is why the White House installs a Christian department in the White House to make sure that people in the government aren't being anti-Christian, to make sure that people in the government are held to a standard of Christianity. That's why this recent department was installed in the White House, okay? And he's on my podcast talking about how oppressed Christians are. That's why the Christians are all the time. It's like, they're the most represented, most popular, most wealthy religion ever. They have nothing but power of the press. And if a Christian goes up and they're like, I love Jesus on TV, when you're a quarterback, you're like, I like Jesus a lot. Did you know that? When you a quarterback and you're like, damn, I like Jesus. So pretty much it's like, so Quinny Ewers, the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, he loves Jesus, and he won a game, and he's like, I won this football game because of Jesus. Jesus keeps me level in every situation. But he was replacing Tua Tagovailoa, who is also very much openly Christian quarterback, who's been the starting quarterback for the Dolphins for a long time. And it mostly goes ignored that he likes Christ, even though he talks about it a lot. Probably because Quinn Ewers is white, and the second he wins a game and says like the exact right sentence that white people want to hear, he gets all the publicity on Twitter for saying it. He gets like, oh, this big thing. Oh, see, he said Jesus keeps me level in every situation. That's exactly what the Christians wanted him to say, or whatever. So he said that, and it's really dorky because he's like, I won, and also Jesus is with me too. You know who was nearby when it happened? This other guy named Jesus, because that's just like, yeah, the Hobbit or whatever. Bilbo Baggins was nearby me. He helped me win this game. Because that's, of course, that's silly. A Bible character was also with me the entire time. A guy from a book. Harry Potter helped me win this game, and he keeps me level in every situation, you know, and that's exactly what Quinn Ewers did. And so the problem that I have with it is that, so he replaced Tua Tagovailoa, who's also an open Christian, and Tua got benched because he sucked at football, according to the Miami Dolphins. That's their press release. They're like, Tua sucks at football, we are the Dolphins. And they benched Tua Tagovailoa. He's also a Christian, and nobody says like anything about Jesus for the guy getting benched. It's basically just one Jesus guy came in for another Jesus guy. But the only thing that anybody says in the press is, Jesus is cool. When it's like, well, Jesus is responsible for this shitty thing that happened to Tua. He is just as much a failure. Like, Tua did not stay level in football games. He was a spaz enough that they benched him. And you can't say that that's not a result of Jesus. If Jesus is there for you, especially at every situation, if he's there for you every situation, He's there for you when you fail too. And that's the real problem I have with it is the Christians are entirely lying about what Jesus is to be like, he wins. He's the guy that we trot out when we win. It's like the whole point of Jesus is that he takes away your sins. He's there for your failures and for your sins and for your mistakes. That's when Jesus comes out. That's the truth of Jesus. That's the gospel. And ain't no Christian out here sharing the gospel. I've got to do it. I'm not even a Christian. I'll share the gospel. Like, Jesus is there for your sins. No Christian is going to say that because it's goddamn embarrassing to go into public and admit that you're blaming your mistakes on another guy, especially if you're a man. Especially if you're a man and we're the result of thousands of years of evolution and like the dominance hierarchy, and every man is trying to be like better than every other man. It's fucking embarrassing to go out into public and admit, oh, actually, when I make a mistake, I just run away. I just blame it on another guy instead of on myself. I don't take responsibility for it. My responsibility for my mistakes, I give them all to another guy. That's what Christianity is all about. That's what Christ is. He's there for your mistakes. That's the entire root of the gospel. That's why these people devote their souls to this shit. But they won't ever say it. They won't breathe a fucking word of it out in public because they're just concerned with looking good. So they trot out Jesus when things are good because to admit to the surrounding world that what you're doing behind closed doors is being like, oh, I just feel like a bitch and want to and don't want to take responsibility for shit that I do. Like, you wouldn't admit that to the surrounding world that is all out here like, oh, we work hard and like, we have to take the blame for our shit because we don't throw it on God, whatever. They have to go into public and be like, they have to lie about who Jesus is. And not a single one of them is sharing the gospel. Like, I have to share the gospel on their behalf. So it's like, it's a complete fucking lie. Like, it's not just, it's like, I mean, you're selling out what you're saying Jesus is, you're selling out your own soul to go, if you're Quinn Ewers and you're like, Jesus, you know what Jesus is? He's the guy that comes out when things are good. Where it's like the whole fucking transformative power of what separates you and makes you different is that you believe, you believe in this guy, Jesus, that took your sins away, and that's what's so different about it. What's not different about it is being like, I like him because of the positives. That's what everybody is proud of everything for, of people around them and anything, And sure, I get obviously you can use Jesus for both things, but I would feel like there should be some amount of since you're spending all this time in church and devoting your life to the power of what Jesus did in order to take your sins away, that you might, it should be pretty easy for Jesus to come out when Tua gets benched, because that is less egregious than a sin. It's getting benched. What's worse is a sin that you get condemned for that makes you guilty of eternal hell, according to Christians. More mild than that is getting benched because you were bad at football. So it should be really easy for Christians or anybody to come out and be Tua Tagovailoa to be Jesus is here in my failure, or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I guess I get that that's different, but to be bragging about Jesus. Jesus is the reason I won versus Jesus is the reason I got benched. But that's basically, if Christians are saying that, well, it's because Jesus is my God and he leads me everywhere, and that's why I was successful in winning this game. If he leads you everywhere and you're just beholden to him, then he led you to getting benched if that's the same God, because they worship the same guy. He led you to getting benched as well, and so since he's the king of being taking away your failures, it should be easy at this point to share the gospel and be like, well, Jesus is responsible for that, but that's okay because that's why I devoted my soul to that kind of thing. So it should be easy to bring out Jesus if you get benched, but never once does that ever happen. He only gets trotted out when things are good, he's just the positivity fairy. He's just the good luck charm the mantra, like just a tagline, just a, just a thing that you say when things are good, like, you might as well just say positivity. And they got to do it to convince the rest of the world that their lives are really good and they're the cool ones and Jesus is good for cool things and not for negativity. Because, like, you go to church, you find out that it's actually this negative side of shit or whatever. But sorry that it got kind of ugly there or whatever, but obviously something should be said about this horrible issue of Christians selling out their own belief system to go on TV and be like, Jesus is my God and that's it. Positivity reigns only, and that's the whole thing about Jesus. When it's like he got tortured to death on a cross, this guy. Got tortured to death on a cross, and so what is the thing about, and that is the thing that you put on all of your churches, is the instrument of his torture. So you put on the side of your churches on your necks, and like that's the thing. It's not stone rolled away. It's the cross. It's the point that he suffered all the time. So what is the deal with all of the suffering, and why does that translate to I'm winning football games in the NFL because Jesus suffered and died? If he's just like a point of pride and positivity, why do you zero in intentionally, specifically, on the moments that he suffered horrendously, suffocating on a cross? What does that have to do with, yay, Jesus? I don't understand. If I didn't know anything about any of that. I mean, I went to church, I don't understand. I went to church for 25 years, I don't understand what that is. How does that, the instrument of his suffering, relate to, yay? What's the connection there? It's just the same thing as he has two birthdays. He's real and he's fake. It's two-facedness. It's polarity. Christians are bipolar. They all are, as I've said before. But it's like, it's definitely a true point, and I'm only more and more understanding why it is true. It's like, it's a dual-sidedness where you get to use Jesus for fakeness and realness, and what comes along with that is, like, he has two birthdays. The real one is New Year's Day. The fake one that they've convinced everybody of is Christmas. It's the same thing as, like, well, the real Jesus is the negative, the guy that you use for your negativity, but then Christians have convinced everybody that it's like the positive one. The fake Jesus is the one that goes public. It's the same thing as, like, being cool for Christianity. Just like, according to them, being cool is the same thing as not taking responsibility for your sins. That's what Christians believe. But then the cool that gets sold to the public, and that what everybody believes about it in the world, same as Christmas, the fake cool is what's sold to the world, which is that actually what's cool about Jesus is that we all are fun-loving people that just like to get together and be social, and will accept anybody or anything like that. It's about accepting everybody all the time. Because you get to use Jesus for both or whatever. And that's the same reason why bipolarity is castigated in society. If you're a person that manifests that, that's threatening to Christians ultimately. Not that that's going to be able to be proven. It's just that that's the most influential thing in government, is the Christian church, in my opinion, besides that there's a White House department or anything. It's just that that's the demographic. That's what runs television, because that's like one of the only reliable demographics is like, you can't piss off Christians, same as every president has to say they're Christian in order to get all the votes. That's the most influential thing in government, is Christianity. And what was the point that I was making? It's just that, like, so I was just saying that they're the most influential, and so that comes through in a lot of other areas people aren't thinking about, where it's like, there's all these things that have to pop up as mental illnesses, when it's actually just a person is manifesting something that's only supposed to be taken by Christ. Like, and that's the way that it's narrated by the narrative people, by the world, is like, same as the paranormal gets narrated out of existence, because we have to be on this very specific pathway about this very singular thing, just like Christ or whatever. And so when people come along and they manifest things that are just supposed to be like, well, Christ is not, and people aren't putting this into words, and that's why I'm on here doing it. But that's not why, that's not why I make this podcast. I don't make this podcast to be like against Christianity. That's just like what comes out of me. I try to make it fun, but like, in my opinion, it's kind of like Christian people are not making it fun in the world, and I have to, that's how I feel, and that's what has to be represented. It's too bad that I can't go on here and just have like the funnest time ever. I think that things got kind of serious in the last few years. I think that it took a turn for the serious. You see it with like conservatives controlling the media, and I wonder if it was like this in the 80s, and like, I mean, it took a turn for the fucking serious. You're not supposed to make jokes, you're not supposed to have theories, you're not supposed to talk about nonsense, and everybody became a fucking Nazi. In the last few years, it happened after the pandemic, it happened after the vaccine. Happened after the vaccine. Because all the people that took the vaccine, a lot of them are Christians, and that took the vaccine, it really, really is. But it's not only Christians, it's just whoever, all the people that took the vaccine are generally people that just like, well, I listen to authority no matter what. I'm not going to question authority, right? So those are the kind of people that are more like sheep. There's like people that go have a pastor tell them, this is the way it is. You think for me, you're the pastor. You're like Jesus, God, you think for me. I don't know. I'm not going to make those decisions on my own or whatever. People that are more sheep took the vaccine. And once they found out that that was a lie, basically the conspiracy theorists were right about the vaccine, all these people, they basically rule the world. And the people that had the power of the press before are the people that say you should get the vaccine good, are the people that, those were all the people that were talking the loudest before. All the conspiracy theorists that are like, no, I don't want to get the vaccine, they're all in the shadows, right? There's not like, they didn't have the power of the press at the time, they still really don't now, but like, it's just like evident that the vaccine is bad and it's killing people, and it was designed by Bill Gates to kill people. Sorry, Bill Gates has been infertilizing people in Africa for a couple decades. That's what he uses the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation money to do. And then he owns media companies that tell everybody in America, oh, he's a wonderful philanthropist, and that's all that they say about him all the time. And it's what he's actually doing is like, what's the word? Immunizing Africans so that they can't have babies, making them infertile, because he's terrified of overpopulation, because that's his religion, same as like a Christian would be very convicted about Christianity. Bill Gates is very convicted about the religion of overpopulation, and he has billions and billions of dollars, and he thinks he thinks that he's doing good for the world to try to eradicate some folks, and he and a number of other people designed a vaccine to kill people, okay, and people died because of the vaccine. And basically what happened is that all the people that took the vaccine that were already running the world, they doubled down, and they're like, no, they got pissed, they got butthurt about it, and now we live in a fucking communist hellhole where it's like, no, nobody gets to say any conspiracy ever. Fuck any of that. We were right. And so nobody gets to say any fucking thing. And that's basically how it works. That's what happened after the pandemic. Where it's like, we were headed for a beautiful world where we're all going to eat mushrooms and do a bunch of drugs. And then the fucking pandemic happened, and now we're just living under the law, basically. And people like me, it's like, are just considered nonsense. And it's the fucking fault of the vaccine people. It's a really shallow victory. For anybody who didn't get a vaccine, it's a shallow victory. And also, vaccines, like, they give you autism. Like, there's nothing but, of course they do. But the point that I'm making is not about, like, you shouldn't have gotten a vaccine or you should have. It's fine. I'm saying, one, the people that didn't get the vaccine, that's a shallow victory, because now you're still owned by the vaccine people, and they're just like, they made it worse because they're just like, whatever. But sorry about this. I got political and ranty. I guess that's always the way this podcast has been. I just wanted it to be fun. But anyway, and we all knew it at the time. The people that didn't get the vaccine, we knew that Bill Gates was doing that. We're like, yeah, we can see that plain as day. So it's like, how did you not get the vaccine or whatever? Anyway, like, but the thing is that, as I've said on this podcast before, it's like, the conspiracy is people that don't like conspiracy theories. That's the most terrifying conspiracy. That's the most harmful conspiracy that there is. Because if you believe in the paranormal, you're like, there's all these people that disappear in the woods. And there's this guy, his last name is Paulides. And he has collected, like, hundreds of documented missing persons cases, some of them very weird. Some of them where it's like we were hiking and then they were with us, then we saw them, we looked over and then we looked back and then they were gone and shit like that. Hundreds of cases of people disappearing in the woods that it's like it goes unreported, and then a lot of us will look at that and be like, oh, that's kind of weird. But then you have this other faction of people that will take the cases that Paulides has found, is like all these people are going missing in the woods, and they will have a bunch of hate and fear towards it, and they'll be like, no, nothing's happening. They'll be like, these are real cases. Like, even the skeptics will be like, yeah, that's a real case, but all that the skeptics can do about it is be like, well, you're just picking and choosing information. You're just bringing up the worst cases of it, as if that's an argument. Where it's like, well, obviously these are the most spectacular cases, and that's what's paranormal about them. That's what's exceptional about them. And the skeptics will be like, well, they'll act like that's an argument. A viable argument is to be like, well, you're just framing it the way that you want. You're just taking the cases that look the worst or something. Where it's like, the point is that there are hundreds of these cases that exist. What is the underlying factor? What's causing this? Nobody's asking that question enough. Because we're all fucking brainwashed to try to narrate paranormal out of the picture as much as possible. But it's just that there's all these fucking people that will get mad at people that look at that and be like, oh, that's weird. Maybe something supernatural is happening with all these missing cases. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's unexplainable. And then there's this group of people that hate conspiracy theories. I mean, it's where it's like, it's a fact these people are going missing. It's a fact that hundreds of people have seen UFOs. It's a fact that people have been abducted and they have stories of it and they've come back, and then other people have witnessed other people get abducted a bunch of times all over. UFOs is a fact or whatever. These things are facts, basically. And then you have all these people that be like, those are conspiracy theories, and those are the people that we believe, That's the narrative, is that, no, UFOs are actually, all of that is not real. Somehow that is always the story that prevails. It has to do with Jesus Christ and all these people that... It has to do... I mean... It's a voodoo. It's easy voodoo to be a Christian. Like, you're Samuel de Champlain. You put a cross in the ground and be like, my God and my people win. That's just like symbolism and voodoo and whatever. But like, the point I'm making is just that, like, how ridiculous are you to get mad at me if I'm like, there's something paranormal happening with all these disappearances in the forest. Like, there's something weird going on, actually. And then, but the real narration, like, that's considered the most irrational thing in the world for me to say that. It's just to be like, oh, there's something weird going on, because the real conspiracy is all the people who hate conspiracy theorists. They are in a big gang, and they have no evidence for what the fuck they're saying. They have no evidence. All they have is speculation and bullshit arguments that add up to nothing about like, oh, you don't get to say what's weird, and why the fuck do they care? Why the fuck, if it's like, I believe in the paranormal, ooga booga booga, all the weird shit's happening, it's the boogeyman is in your closet. If I'm out here saying all of that, who the fuck would possibly care about that besides all of these people that just need to control everything and be tyrants over everything? They have to have the controlling narrative. They have to have everybody be condescended to by them, because like, oh, not for a second are you allowed to speculate something or say that, like, it's just a conspiracy, and it has to be a conspiracy. It has to be that there's that giant group of people doing that, all breathing together with the same thing, because they're successful at convincing everybody else in the world that that's what the actual narrative is that like the paranormal isn't real. When it's like so clear that it is real, and like, of course I'm out here like, that shit is wild. And it's a conspiracy, that's a conspiracy, is all the fucking group of people that for no reason get angry at somebody who wants to believe in ghosts. It's like, the rest of us, the paranormal people, aren't getting angry at them for not believing in it, only because they get shitty about it. It's not like I or anybody who's like, oh, there's something weird about all those cases, people disappearing in the woods. It's not like the rest of us need to all get together for no fucking reason and then get mad at people that don't believe in that. That's not the onus, that's not the focus of the argument, that's not the problem. That's not the issue. We don't have a problem with people that don't believe it. The people who don't believe it have a problem with the people that do. And that's like, that's the only place you can point to there's a semblance of a conspiracy of a group of people getting together all believing the same thing. Because conspiracies are all varied. They're all very varied. They're all different. There are so many different ones of them, and people believe in different ones. I don't believe that 9/11 was a hoax or anything. It's not like somebody who believes in a conspiracy theory believes in all of them, but you use the term conspiracy theory to pretend, without any evidence, when you're somebody who hates them, you use that term to pretend, because you're just in a fantasy world, you use that term to pretend that somebody who believes in them believes in all of them. So it's the fakest thing in the world, where it's like, you know, you should spend some time looking at real conspiracies, where it's like, Christianity, those people all believe in Christ. I mean, that's so much more like millions of people, a billion in fact, plus people all believing in basically the same thing. I know that there's different denominations, but like, that's so much more like everybody believes in the same thing. I mean, I'm just telling you, certainly Christianity fits the term conspiracy more than conspiracy theorists, because conspiracy theorists, they believe, there's not like, believing in Bigfoot is different from believing in UFOs, because they are different efforts. They imply so much different of things. Like, one of them is terrestrial, one of them is extraterrestrial, for one. It's like, but people will be like, see, that's the same. It's the same thing as ghosts. That's way different than like, Methodists believe this about Christ and Lutherans believe this about Christ. Well, you all believe in Christ. Like, that's a conspiracy. Ghosts and Bigfoot, like, give me a fucking break. Like, that's what we're supposed to treat as the same, just because the world is terrified of the paranormal? They're like, well, everything in the paranormal is the same. It's all very explainable as conspiracy theory. It's just one term. That's the very last fucking thing that you're allowed to put under one term in all rational thought and all realness. That's the last thing you're able to explain away as one thing, is the extent of all paranormal things. Like, why were the Nazis over in Antarctica? What did they find down there? What's going on in Antarctica? A conspiracy, the things that we call a conspiracy theory is like, you're just saying like theories. Well, a theory, as we realize, is disintegrated. It can be anything. You're just like, you're just reaching your arm out into the uncertain, out into the darkness in the realm, and like trying to put the pieces together for like, maybe it's dim enough that you can connect some dots in a section of territory that humanity hasn't explored yet, and like there's some pattern there that you can see in the somewhat visible light. Like on the fringes of it, it's not entirely dark, is what I'm saying. And you make some connections in the uncertain world. You throw some theories out there. And people who hate conspiracy theorists are the only conspiracy, because they come together as one. They all have the same unified thought, which is that, no, you're not allowed to go into the paranormal and can make patterns and connect dots on your own to try to do it just to see what happens. You're not allowed to be adventurous. It's the same as the fucking loyalists who went to Canada. I mean, that's why it's a more spectacular thing when a group of people is able to come together as a counterculture, as like against the rules, as like we're gonna fuck up Britain's authoritative shit. That's a more profound example of that's why we love America forever. It's because they did that. It was when they came together as like rogues to do that, and like when a country gains its independence, it's a big deal. And so it's more difficult to make that happen. Like when it's a theory that's just like, there's no unified thought out there. It's not unified across theory. When like we live in a world right now where conservatives control things, where it's like everything that's a theory, well, that's supposed to all be the same. When it's theories are disintegrated, they are not connected to other theories. That's the whole point. Like, the only conspiracy is the people that don't like conspiracy theories, because they all breathe together. The theorists are not getting together. They're getting together in like small groups of like pockets of things, but it's not all centered around a guy that like unifies it, you know, where it's like. And that's what makes it better, is that you have to believe it of your own faith. And it's like Christians will say, we own faith. You know, it's the same thing as what gives them the credit to be credible in the face of the paranormal and take credit away from people that believe in paranormal things, is they convince everybody, oh, faith is a Christian term. When faith should be a term for partial beliefs. It should be a term for things you don't necessarily have all the evidence for, but you're putting things together. It's a term for the uncertain. Shouldn't be a term for people that are like, we certainly believe in this so much we devoted our entire life and our entire soul to it, and we believe it is forever, whatever. Faith is not for eternal things, it's for temporal things that happen on the earth. It's for theories that you craft wherever you want, you know, and on your own time, like temporarily, just in your own house, like putting together some semblance of energy and belief, like having partial confidence. Faith is not a term for utmost confidence, like for sure, because it's not based on complete evidence. It's for theories, and that's the fucking thing that happened. Is that it's like anybody who's like, oh, that's kind of weird. Hey, no. What the fuck are you doing? You can't say any of that. You're such a liar. Just because they have the backing of hundreds of other dim-witted fucks that are like, no, we don't believe in the paranormal. Like, yeah, people are wild to try to come up with an idea just because it's like, I mean, basically, here we live in a world right now where the dumb people took over. The dumb people took over and they're like, no, you have to be dumb. It's not, there's no like theoretical, like, oh yeah, math and science. You realize like how smartness is not having a really good time of it in the world, in the country. Like, it's definitely like dumb took over. Like, intelligence is not that great. We're like, yeah. Unless you're Charlie Kirk, who's a Christian. Unless you're a Christian. Then it's fine. You can be whatever the fuck you want. be Charlie Kirk, you can be the smarmiest, gayest little idiot of all time, and that's what we all love you. We're supposed to love you. That's what we love, is people who are really nerdy and smarmy, apparently all of a sudden, just because Christ, and there's like millions of people that agree with Christ, because there's millions of people that are like, oh, that is cool to be smarmy. That is what makes you a lovable person. So it becomes backwards, where it's like somebody who is actually lovable, because there's like, the thing about love is that it can be found in some people, and in others it cannot be found. Some people are insensitive, and some people are sensitive, you know? Some people are insensitive, like people that will go into public and debate people that they don't like and they don't agree with, because they get off to like, oh, you hate me? I like that you hate me. Those people are not lovable in any regard. Those people are nerdy and smarmy, and we all decided that's not cool, that's not lovable, you're not one of these people that's like the life of the party that we like you, because you're like emotional and sensitive to people, and you just like you understand the way of people, you know, and like, it's just that love can be found in some people, it can't be found in others. People that are more like emotional, it's like, oh, love or whatever. Somebody who's nerdy and insensitive, Charlie Kirk, we don't love that, but because he's a Christian, after he's the guy that we all love the most, because he had lived the best life and all of this shit. He's basically like the, he's like the James Dean of my generation, because that's as much as we can popularize about a person anymore. It's just like a Christian figure. That's the thing, is that everybody's on their different channels now so much that Christianity, the spotlight is becoming more and more on Christianity right now. As a result, like the world has come to take away a lot of stuff that we've realized is not as important as Christianity, as far as like Christianity being an integral part of the nation. It's being revealed more and more, the strength of the Christian church, like how in numbers, how many of them that there are, where it's like at the time of James Dean, we lived in a world where the nation could be seen to be as important to people as like Christianity, or it's like it could be believed that the culture of America is big enough, like that Americans are all connected enough just by America. It's like that's something that they used to have to rely on before technology made it that, oh, we're actually all just a bunch of assholes on our own shit now, where it's like, you know, since we're all on our own wavelength more, because the entertainment separates all of us, like we're not all watching the same TV show, whatever, you know, and it's just like channels opened up, more channels, because it used to be that everybody was watching Cheers and everybody could be connected through that, and it's just like there are a lot more things that all of us could be connected behind, where it's like a big group. It's just undeniable that we are a giant group, and now it has become the case through technology that it is undeniable that we are all a bunch of individuals, because it's just becoming that more and more, because there's less phenomenons. There's pop culture is dying, popularity is dying, and as a result of that, what gets left as when all of that erodes, when all of that wears away, all of these facades of like pop culture and stuff like Hollywood, James Dean, whereas like we used to just all be like, we're all connected by the idea, this American, very American institution of like film. What gets left, what we see now is like, okay, Christianity is one of the strongholds of like, this is a massive group of people that everybody is connected through this. Like, that's one of the only things left where it's like, is lots and lots of people are connected behind the same idea. And so the spotlight in the world, as you can see, is becoming more and more about Christianity. I don't know if you've noticed. It is. And I've been talking about it for years, and I'm usually like I'm ahead of the curve a lot of the time. And I mentioned Nicolas Maduro, and I think I said his name was Madurin, but I was like, oh, I don't know if that's his name. I'll have to look that up. It's Maduro. I mentioned Nicolas Maduro like on my podcast a week before he got captured, and there was no like, nobody thought, oh, Maduro is about to be captured by the American government, him and his wife. And I mentioned Venezuela a week before because I'm a genius. And so, of course I'm a genius. It's not easy to say, but it is like an approachable enough term where all of us will be like, we'll call ourselves a genius over certain things, where it's like, even though it's like, oh, you shouldn't ever say that because that's too much of a term to call yourself, it is approachable enough that we're like able to joke about it if each other are geniuses or not, you know? It's something that we just need to get over. We're all geniuses, you know? It's like, we all know ball. We know ball. Everybody knows ball, the football games. But you don't know ball. We all know it. We all know ball. We're all geniuses. Every one of us. Congratulations. We're smarter than every other species on the planet. There's millions of them. Millions of species. We are all the smartest species. We're all smarter than like all the animals except for maybe retarded people. We're all smarter than all the animals. We're all geniuses. We're all geniuses. So it's not that hard to say that about yourself. So and that's what I'm saying is that's one of the only things that's left. It's like there's a big group of people that we're all united behind. Charlie Kirk is the James Dean of our time because that's the only thing that could capture like something like at the time James Dean, like we would have all been united about that America and patriotism, because just in the last 20 years, just since 9/11 times, you see how much patriotism has eroded. And I guess it kind of like, I mean, that's kind of like one of the points at which it died. It's like that was one of the last times that this was the last time that we got unified behind anything other than Christ. It was 9/11. It's the last time, no, not necessarily. It just kind of marked, it was a demarcation of like, okay, now we're starting to live in the world where we're not going to be united by things like patriotism anymore. Because that was the last time that we all like came together. And it was really cool at 9/11 times. If you were like cognizant enough, like old enough to remember that everybody like held candles and walked around the streets. We're like, we love America. We're united just as a country. It was cool that was that way. And then people will be like, no, 9/11 was only sad. Like, they would be willing to completely drop all of that we got together afterward, like the cool feelings of whatever happened afterward. For most of us got to experience cool things with 9/11. In reality, that's the fact of the matter. Most of us got to feel like, oh, we're all united through patriotism. This sad thing, it sucked for the people that sacrificed themselves for the rest of us to have like a good time afterward. You know, and it was a good time. Like, that was a party after 9/11. No bones about it. No punches thrown, no love lost. That was a fucking party that we had when all those people died. Yeah, it sucks for them, but that was nice of them to make that sacrifice, and that's what we were honoring. Was the sacrifice they made so the rest of us have a big old party and feel connected for once. Is that why they did it? Is that why those people intentionally got planes run into them? I don't know. It's the jury's still out, but hey, throw a few bit. Let's have a beer and let's drink. Also, let's remember the fucking time afterward where we all got together and we were partying. Let's have a beer for the time that we all got together after 9/11, for the good vibes and the good feelings that lots of us experienced. I mean, I get that people died and I was sad about it. People die every fucking day! Aren't there like thousands of people dying in a car crash every day, you know what I mean? It's not relevant to you. Also, just like, it's not relevant that somebody died. Are you gonna get fucking oh, I'm so sad that somebody died in a car crash that I didn't know today also. And that's my mode of thinking. That's reality for me. That's reality for me, is that sadness that I feel for somebody I'd never met that I couldn't possibly have organic or real feelings of sadness towards. Well, a lot of people died. A lot of people died. Oh, a lot of people died? And so, like, that's why you're not supposed, that's why you're supposed to be, like, sensitive to 9/11. A lot of people died. Sorry, I think that's what happened all the time, every time anything happened in history, or all of the years that we evolved, all of evolution, all animals everywhere, people, you, me, everybody, all of us, that's what's going to happen to you, and that's what happened to everybody that's already died. And there's like millions of people that already, oh yeah, everybody died. That's what, like, do you know that cemeteries exist? Do you know that cemeteries exist? Oh, just because it happened to a lot of people at one time, and that was an exceptional example of dying. Like, well, actually, I don't like it, and it makes me feel sad, and everybody's supposed to feel sad when it so happens that when it happens simultaneously, because lots of people at once is so much sad that everybody in the world has to have a specific set of feelings as a result, because of simultaneity. Well, simultaneousness of a lot of it happening at once is definitely where everybody is now supposed to feel a specific kind of sadness that will be legislated and policed by everybody, across everybody, for them to feel that way, because there's only one certain way you're supposed to feel. Like, these people haven't fucking seen a cemetery, apparently. It's like, you know, death happens, right? I thought that... I'm just saying, like, there's two sides to every story. And if you're gonna go around being like, never forget the fucking where everybody died horribly, and like that's accepted in society about it by all the people that would be like, no, you're supposed to take it seriously, never forget. Like, it's baffling to me that people are out there, apparently. I'm surprised. I don't even know if, I feel like I'm talking out of turn just to call them out. It's like, no, they can't possibly exist. People that are like, but I guess it's just like patriotism or something. That can't possibly exist that people would be like, oh no, don't say about 9/11, like, that was bad. People that are like, no, when something, like, no, if you hear about something bad or something tragic, you're just supposed to turn into like a zombie, like one of those fish that Plankton controlled in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, where he put like chum bucket hats on all of them. You're supposed to be one of those whenever you hear about something sad. You're just supposed to turn into a zombie and be like, sad is bad, I won't do it. Like, it's because fucking dumb people run the world. Like, we have to listen to these retards tell us, like, no, sadness is bad, and so that's not good, dude. I didn't like it. These same fucking people, like, oh yeah, but never forget. Take that seriously, this whole thing. Never forget seeing all of that horrible shit. Like, I don't want to see any of that horrible shit. But you know what? That's the thing in this country that we remember forever. It's like, I don't know. It's a joke, you know. You made it a joke already. It's a big joke. It's a big joke it's a big joke that we're expected to always be like, tragedy is actually really sad, actually. That's the biggest joke ever. Then why is it on everybody's news locally in the nation, different tragedies, nonstop, every day? Like, these are the people that died, and we're going to show them to all of you. Nothing but 48 hours mysteries for the nation. Nothing but horrible stories that we all love to eat up and whatever. It's a big fucking joke that all of us in public, 100% of the time, have to be like, oh my god, how sad. That's the worst thing ever. Because we're all having a big fucking party over it all the time. That's the only thing we even care about, is people dying at this point. It's one of the only things we can harken back to, is like, wow, isn't that tragedy? We're all just falling asleep watching it on YouTube. Like, not everybody, but lots and lots of people. So, like, it's a joke that we all, 100% of us, the complete representation in public of it. It's like, there aren't anybody that is entertained by tragedy, is the biggest joke of all fucking time. And what I'm saying is, like, It is that way because that's what you're supposed to say that in public all the time. You're supposed to stay true. You're supposed to represent what's representing about, I hate tragedy and I hate car crashes. You're supposed to be like, you know what? I'm cool. I love when things are good. Like, kill me. Everybody fucking... Why are people... Of course people are killing themselves. They're the only ones that have it right. They're the only ones that have it right. When Chris Farley dies early and everybody's like, wow, he had such a terrible life. Wow. He had it so bad. It's like he did all the things that he wanted. He was exceptionally more talented than everybody else. He was great at what he did. He didn't have problems in comparison to everyone else at what he was doing. He did what he wanted more than everybody else. He was more successful at doing it. He's a guy, that's the picture of the guy that did all the shit that he wanted. But that's the guy that after the fact we're like, wow, what, he had such a painful life. He was in so much pain. He had it so horrible. The guy that most did what he wanted all the time, and like he died early, and then even the people that are closest to him, they have to be embarrassed about like, oh, in front of all the other people to be like, oh, he died tragically? Oh, I guess that he was just trying to fill a hole in his life all the time. I guess that he was very sad, and that's the story. Even the people that are closest to him, they have to come out and say that fucking shit about it. Like, oh, that's the thing, is like, it's so sad what happened with Chris Farley. It's like, it's actually the happiest thing in the world, and that's why we remember him, and that's why we love the guy. It's because it's the happiest thing ever. It is nothing, that's so much an afterthought that he was going through self-esteem and body issues. Like, he overcame the body issues. That's why we like the guy. But it's like, the only fucking thing we say about it, I mean, not the only thing, but like so much after the fact is like, wow, all of the pain that comes with being somebody that's so great an example. Like, he couldn't love himself. No, he loved himself more than everybody else. Way more. That's why we liked the fucking dude. And you know what? But it's just like, and I started into that because all the people that after the fact, like, oh, your life is so good. Well, Chris Farley has had this really weird thing going on where he thought that he wasn't good. He didn't love himself, or he hated himself. He has very exceptional, strange thing, and none of the rest of us do that because all of us are very positive and we don't have problems. Like, well, it's this very weird thing happened to Chris Farley where he had issues and he had to overcome with drugs and addictions. It's like, all of the rest of us have never dabbled in weirdness. Even the people that are closest to him that are in the entertainment industry that have battled with addictions more so than, or whatever, even they will be like, yeah, Chris Farley was the addictions in, that's weird, whatever. And like, that's the thing that we have to say was weird about him, rather than that he was exceptionally amazing and positive, like, and happy, not sad. He was exceptionally happy, you know? All these people are like, you know, because that's right there. Like, you're not, no, you don't think about killing yourself ever? You don't go into drugs, you don't have problems? Because that's the narrative you have to say. It's like, and then when something really sad happens, it's like, let's fixate on the sadness and make that the thing. I mean, hopefully you see what I mean. I'm saying that it's like, yeah. It's just that like, that's the thing that gets told about him after the fact. So all these people that are like, oh, no, it was really, we're all supposed to be really good, and so it's very weird what happened when Chris Farley did bad things, because that never happens and people don't die, so that's so strange. You know, that I was trying to connect the two, the Chris Farley, to what I was saying before. It's like, it's such a joke that we have to carry on acting like it's never a tragedy, or like that's not a normal part of it. It's like the people that are killing themselves, they're just as much right as the rest of us, but you're not even allowed to say suicide because don't mention suicide because we're all fucking horrified by that, apparently. Here's an easy step to take. It's like, well, don't be horrified about things that are a reality, and especially not words that describe the reality. It's like, don't be scared of a fucking word. It's like, suicide happens, we're all on the verge of killing ourselves all the time, you know? Because, like, tragedy is normal and it's not this exceptional thing that should be, like, sensationalized on the news every single fucking night. Or whatever, you know? It's not, the sensation is not the fucking sadness. Because that's just a part of it. Like, get over it. People, get over sadness, people. Get over history. Get over nostalgia. History happened. It's just people are so fixated on fucking history. I could go on, and so in the next episode, I will carry on with this discussion. I will probably just be on a new topic, but I will forget this. It'll be like, next episode I'll say this. I'll save it for the next episode, and then I never remember it by the next episode, but then I'm like talking alone. But I will continue with this discussion, and the topic will be about how it's this over-fixation on history. There's like all the, like, versus the future. People are so afraid of the uncertain future. They're like, it's all got to be about history. History has everything to do with the past, right? There's everything to do with the past. The past is always sad. That's what I'm going to talk about in my next sermon. Tune in, come back to church next week, and you will get all churched up. I'm the only pastor you need. I'm the Antichrist. Thank you very much. Talk to you all later. You can take that one to the bank.